Good morning. This is Mohammad Sulaiman, Assistant Professor of Commerce, working at MBS Government Degree College, Autonomous, Mahbub Nagar. Today, let us learn about duties and liabilities of director of a company. As all of us know, that company being an artificial person created in the eyes of law cannot function on its own. Therefore, directors uh, play a key role in the company management, and therefore on appointment in the capacity of a director has got certain duties and liabilities. Therefore, today let us learn what are the duties and liabilities of director of a company. So let us see the objectives of today's lesson. In today's lesson, we will be learning about introduction to the duties and liabilities of directors. Then we'll see about various types of duties of directors like fiduciary duties, duty of care and skill, duty to attend board meetings, and duty not to delegate, and duty to disclose interest, and we'll be learning about statutory duties. Later on, we will be concentrating on learning the liabilities of directors of a company. So, in that, we will see what type of liabilities that the directors have towards the company, that is civil liability and criminal liability. So, let us move on and see what are the different duties and liabilities of directors in a company. So, as mentioned earlier, director holds a key position in the company management, and law imposes certain duties on directors of a company because a company is a form of a business organization wherein a lot of people have invested their hard earned money in the form of share capital, and proper management of the company for earning good profits and reasonable profits is essential. Therefore, the board of director is appointed for the purpose of looking after the management of the company, and hence the directors hold an important position in the management of the company by participating in various decisions that are being taken on the board for the betterment of the company or in the interest of the company, and hence law imposes certain duties on directors, and directors may have different types of roles and responsibilities in a company, and while discharging all these roles and responsibilities, they are supposed to follow the code of conduct, and the breach of duties entitles the company to sue the directors uh, for any damage or loss that has suffered by the company as a result of wrong decisions or as a result of the breach or negligence by the directors. Therefore, director position is an important position in the company management, and they are supposed to follow all the guidelines that are given in the Companies Act. So now let us see what are the different types of duties of directors of a company. As directors hold a key position in the company, they are supposed to perform various types of duties, and those are fiduciary duties, duty of care and skill, duty to attend board meetings, duty not to delegate, duty to disclose interest, and statutory duties. So let us learn all these types of about all these types of duties one by one. So first, let us learn about fiduciary duties. Since director occupies an important position in the company, and he is therefore expected to exercise their powers in good faith and in the interest of the company, which will create some sort of benefit to the company as a whole. Therefore, director should not enter into some kind of agreements or some kind of contracts which will benefit him personally. And if he does like that, then he is held personally responsible, and he is supposed to exercise his power in good faith, and it should bring some benefit to the company as a whole, and he is not supposed to enter into agreements with some personal interest, and there shall not be any conflict of personal interest of the company, personal interest of the director and the interest of the company. So, for example, a director working as a director in a company shall not enter into a contract on his own name, with the company, and director, if he is likely to do so, shall inform the company and take prior approval for it. But in normal circumstances, he is not expected to enter into such agreements with personal interest, because the director cannot make a profit by reason of opportunity that has come due to his position. As he is in the position of a director, he might be knowing many secrets of the company, or he might be knowing many decisions that are going to be taken in the near future. Hence, where a director makes profit out of some secret or confidential information that is available in the company, he is not entitled to retain it unless these profits are explained or disclosed to and approved by the company. Therefore, the director is supposed to uh, exercise his fiduciary duties and follow the position of a director according to the company rules. And the fiduciary duty so accepted or owed to the company as a whole is as a whole to the company, but not to the individual member of it, where sometimes if a director is instructed to purchase some asset for the company or some property for the company, and if he purchases the same for himself and then sells to the company at some profit, then he is clearly liable on account of profit made. For example, if a company is in need of machinery worth rupees some 5 lakhs, if the director purchases the machines and sells the same machinery to the company at some margin, then he is clearly liable or accountable for the profit that he has made out of the transaction that he has done here. So this is explained as fiduciary duties of the directors. Now let us move on and see the duty of care and skill. So normally a director is expected to be honest while working in the company and while taking decisions in the company. And honesty alone is not enough sometimes. So a director must perform his duties with reasonable care and skill. What is expected or what amount of care is expected from an ordinary person will be expected from the director of a company also. If the business of the company was his own, how a director behaves or performs his duties, in the same fashion, the director is expected to perform his duties as he is taking the decision for his own business or for his own company. Then a director will be liable for negligence in carrying out of his duties in some cases if he has not exercised reasonable skill. And a director cannot be held liable for mere error of judgment. Sometimes it happens. A decision taken by a director will be due to some error of judgment, and though he was honest and has exercised reasonable care while taking the decision, if the decision goes wrong in future, then the director cannot be held liable because he was honest enough and he has exercised reasonable care while taking the decisions, but the error of judgment happened and the decision could not go well. Therefore, the director cannot be held liable in such case. So, the duty of care and skill will depend upon the nature and size of a company and the manner in which the company is functioning and the way in which the work is allotted or distributed among the directors and other officials of the company. sometimes the directors have to believe the officials of the company who are working in the company in the capacity of some executives. Then the work that is being done by some official or some executive is trusted by director, and even though the director is honest and is working with reasonable care and applying proper skill, if something goes wrong due to the error of judgment, then the director cannot be held liable. So, as a general matter, a director will not be held liable for negligence unless the guilty or negligence is on the part of the director. Therefore, a director need not exhibit in performance of his duties whether he is possessing a large amount of skill, whether he is a person with good amount of skills, or he is honest, and so on. A director may not assure, or a director may not say that he is exercising greater degree of skill in every decision that he has taken, or at every time that he thinks about taking some decision in the meeting. Therefore, a director is not bound to give some sort of continuous attention to the affairs of the company. His duties are performed only during the meetings of the board, and meetings that he has attended are being attended by other directors also, where the decision taken will be a combined decision wherein the director will put forth his ideas, and his ideas are sometimes considered, and if he goes wrong due to his negligence or due to some lack of skill, then the blame can be on the part of the director. Therefore, if director act within their own powers, if they act with such care that is to be reasonably expected from them, having good knowledge, then they are not held liable if they act honestly. Therefore, a director is supposed to perform his duties with a proper, reasonable skill. So, this is regarding duty of care and skill. Now, let us see the duty to attend board meetings by a director. Duty to attend board meetings is one more duty that is put by law on a director. Therefore, a director should attend the board meetings whenever he is able to do so. So, normally meetings happen in a company whenever there is a need, frequently and urgently, or normally casual meetings will also happen. Therefore, a director is expected to attend the board meetings whenever he is able to do so. But it cannot be said that he is bound to attend all the meetings that are happening in the company. But continuous non-attendance uh, in meetings may render a director liable for the acts and decisions taken by his co-directors, because the absence of the director is treated as a absence, and the decisions will be taken by the remaining directors, wherein the other directors will take a decision, and the person who was not present in the meeting due to his continuous non-attendance may also be held liable for the act of his co-directors. Section 164 of the Companies Act provides that the office of directors becomes vacant if he absents himself from 3 consecutive meetings of the board. So once the board has called for a meeting, then he is absent. Then second time he is absent, and third time also he is absent. Then the position is deemed to be vacant according to section 164, or he is absent from all the meetings of the board for a continuous period of 3 months, whichever is longer. So, if the director absents in all the meetings for a consecutive period of 3 months, and whichever is longer, either 3 consecutive meetings of the board or the meetings of the board for a continuous period of 3 months, whichever is longer, he is treated as a vacant of the position of the director. Therefore, without obtaining the permission, or leave of absence from the board, a director is not supposed to absent from the meeting. Therefore, this is important duty of a director of a company to attend the meetings, board meetings, and participate in the decisions that are being taken in the company, whether good or bad. He has to put forth his ideas and opinions regarding the agenda that has been put in the meeting, and he has to attend the meeting without any negligence, and he should see that he is participating in all the decisions that are being taken by the board, because he will be held liable for the acts of his co-directors also. Therefore, duty to attend board meetings is also an important duty of the director of a company. Now, let us learn about duty not to delegate. This is an important duty of a director. So, a director, when appointed in the capacity of director, is expected to perform his duties personally. If Mr. M is appointed as a director of a company, then Mr. M shall perform his duties personally and should not delegate his work to some other person called T or S, because directors must perform their duties on their own and should not delegate their duty to some other person. Therefore, the directors are bound by the famous maxim, delegatus non potest delegere. So he shall not delegate his work to some other person. And however, there are some exceptions to this rule. The director may delegate their duties if the articles of the company permit to some other person, or sometimes having regard to the urgency of the business, the directors may distribute the work among themselves and other officials of the company. So, due to some urgency, when a director could not attend the meeting, he may ask his fellow directors or co-directors to share some responsibility or burden on his behalf, because he is not in a position to share it. Or sometimes it is possible that the officials of the company may also be given some work wherein the director may distribute the work among the officials of the company, and sometimes the directors may distribute the work among themselves and finish the work. Therefore, except in exigencies, the directors are not expected to delegate their office to some other person, wherein they will be held liable in such case where the decisions go wrong. Therefore, the duty not to delegate is an important duty of a director. Then let us see duty to disclose interest. This is one of the most important duties that a director has in the company. A director must ensure that his interest and duty do not conflict, because a director is acting in the position of agent of a company also. So, of course, a director is expected to perform various types of roles in the company, but one of the important roles that he has to take up is agent of the company, and he must see that if he is acting as agent of the company, his interest and duty do not conflict each other. For the proper exercise of the functions of a director, it is highly important that he should be disinterested. He should be disinterested, and he should not have any personal interest, and he should be free from any type of conflicting interest in the company. So, whenever there is a conflict between his interest and duty, he should put duty as first priority, because company as a whole is a big organization or concern wherein he is occupying a position called director, and he should take decision in the interest of the company only. If there is a situation wherein his interest and the duty are in conflict, then he can avoid a situation, or he can avoid such contract in which the director is supposed to be landed in a problematic situation. Or if such situation is arising, he can put that information on the board and take a prior permission or sanction of the board for taking up that type of work. Therefore, According to section 184 of the Companies Act, a director who is interested in any type of transaction of the company, he is bound to disclose his interest. He is supposed to disclose his interest to the board, and the disclosure shall be made as soon as possible or urgently or at the first meeting of the board whenever he finds that there is some interest. For example, if there is a contract that is going on wherein the director has got some interest in that, the director should inform the board immediately. Immediately, the next hour or the next day, he should inform regarding the interest that he has. Therefore, in such a situation, a director cannot take part in taking such decisions wherein there is some interest, or if there is a voting to take such a work or to take up such contract, then he should not participate in such votings. Therefore, a director who is having some interest directly or indirectly should avoid such contracts or should stay away from voting for such contracts. Therefore, duty to disclose interest is one of the important duties that a director has to perform. So now let us see various types of statutory duties that a director has. Apart from the duties that we discussed earlier, uh, the directors have some specific duties that are laid down according to the Companies Act. And let us learn some of the important statutory duties that a director has is duty not to allot shares until minimum subscription is raised. This is known to us. Unless minimum subscription is raised by a company, the directors are not supposed to allot any shares to the applicants or subscribers, because minimum subscription is essential for allotment of shares. If minimum subscriptions of a company is fixed at some level, then after ensuring that the minimum subscription has been raised, then only the allotment of shares can be done by the directors. Or if they violate this, if they do not follow this duty, then they will be held responsible. Then one more duty, statutory duty that a director has is duty to sign annual returns and certificate regarding the annual returns. So this is also important statutory duty that a director is supposed to perform to sign the annual returns of the company. And one more statutory duty can be duty to forward the statutory reports to every member of the company. After the statutory report is prepared, it is made ready, a director is supposed to forward the statutory report to every member of the company. And one more duty that we can remember here is duty to call or arrange for an annual general meeting every year within the proper time. So as we know that annual general meeting can be delayed for some time, but it cannot be delayed beyond 2 financial years or 2 years. Therefore, the annual general meeting can be organized by the directors within the proper time. So this is one of the most important statutory duties that directors have. Then a duty to call an extraordinary general meeting whenever there is a need. Whenever there is a need, a director shall call for the extraordinary general meeting to discuss some important issues. One more important statutory duty that a director has is preparation of profit and loss account. Preparation of profit and loss account and balance sheet, and submitting the profit and loss account and balance sheet with the director reports, and granting approval for that or taking approval for that. Then one more statutory duty is duty to take share qualification. So every director is supposed to take some share qualification, and this is a statutory duty on his part to take share qualification. Therefore, the responsibility of directors is also to send the to send the reports to the concerned authorities, or to submit the reports to the concerned government officials in respect of various functions or decisions that have been taken in the company is also one of these statutory duties. So, in addition to this, Section 134 of 1 of C of the Companies Act 2013 provides that the board's report will also include a director's responsibility statement that he has taken all necessary precautions while preparing the statements, and the accounts have been properly verified. For example, their directors have prepared the annual accounts, and applicable accounting standards have been followed from time to time by providing the proper explanation and notes in the annual accounts of the company. And the proper accounting policies that are in practice contemporary have been applied consistently, and the values recorded in the financial statements are recorded by arriving at proper estimates and judgments that are reasonable and prudent according to the accounting standards that give a true picture of the financial statements, or the that provide a true and fair view of the company performance. That is, the profit and loss account and balance sheet have been prepared honestly at the end of the financial year, and the company has reported a profit only after following all the necessary accounting policies and the procedures that have been applied consistently. Then one more statutory duty could be sufficient care has been taken by the directors of the company in maintenance of the accounting records as per the provisions of the Companies Act, and they have safeguarded the assets of the company, and enough precautions have been taken to prevent or detect the frauds and other irregularities, if any, in the company. So these type of statutory responsibility statement has to be given by the directors of the company. Therefore, all the duties of the directors of a company have to be followed scrupulously, and directors are responsible if something goes wrong in future. So after learning about the duties of the directors, now let us learn about the liabilities of directors. So directors have got some duties, and at the same time have got some liabilities in the company also, because when duties are given to the directors, then in the decisions that the directors have taken, there may be certain liabilities also. So in such a cases, the liabilities are put only on the directors because they have taken the decision. Hence, the directors have liabilities towards the company as well as towards the third parties. So the liabilities of directors can be studied into two types. One is a civil liability, and the second one is criminal liability. So civil liability and criminal liability both are the liabilities that may be on the directors. Therefore, the directors are supposed to perform their duties in the capacity of agents or trustees of the company, wherein they will be held liable for the decisions that they have taken. So let us learn about civil liabilities of a director in a company. As mentioned earlier, directors are supposed to be the agents and trustees of the company, and if there is any breach of these duties, or if there is any negligence in performing the duties, the directors may be held liable to the company and its shareholders, because we know that the management of the company is looked after and done only by the board of directors. Then the directors are held liable to the company as well as the shareholders, because shareholders have put their hard-earned money in the form of share capital by purchasing shares in that company particularly. Therefore, the directors may be made liable for different reasons, like negligence, like misfeasance, like breach of trust, and Ultra Vires Acts. So now let us learn one by one what are these grounds on which the directors may face a civil liability. First of all, let us learn about negligence. So as discussed earlier, a director must exercise proper care and diligence in the performance or in his performance while taking up the duties in the company. So he is supposed to perform the duties with proper attention and care, and while taking some decisions or while acting in the capacity of director, if he fails to exercise some reasonable skill and diligence as it is expected from a normal person, then the director is held liable for negligence. Though it is known to the director regarding a decision and its outcome, even though after knowing it, if he does not exercises proper care, if he does not exercise proper diligence, then he will be held liable for negligence on his part. However, if the negligence is not proved and the decision is only because of mere error of judgment, resulting some loss to the company, then in such a case, the director being honest may not be held liable for the wrong decision that he has taken. Therefore, a director is not necessarily always be negligent, but if he fails to attend the board meetings continuously, even though when call is given, when invitation is given regarding the board meeting, and he is continuously absenting himself, and his non-attendance to the board meeting may be treated as negligence on his part, because whenever a meeting is called for, a director is supposed to attend the meeting, and if he is not showing interest in attending the meetings, then he can be called as a negligent person. Therefore, a director who is continuously absenting himself from board meetings can be made liable for his negligence on part of absenting from the meetings. And sometimes it may happen that the directors have to trust the officials of the company who are working in the company. Due to work and due to burden of the work, some situations may demand that a director may have to trust the officials working in the company, and sometimes if the officials are not honest and the duties assigned to the officials of the company, then he shall not be made liable for negligence. But if such an officer or an official causes some loss or damage to the company by misconduct, so as a misconduct is not done by the director personally, then he cannot be made liable because of the work or decision taken by some official. Therefore, for a director, it is justified in trusting the officials of the company to carry out honestly any duty in his absence. Therefore, when a director has a sufficient reason of suspecting an officer in the company for fraud or for some any other misappropriation, failure to investigate such fraud on the executive or such officer would amount to negligence, would amount to negligence in performance of his duties. For example, if it has come to the notice of a director that Mr. X is dishonest in the company and misappropriating cash, and repeatedly this notice is given to the director, even though after many notices, if the director is not showing any interest for taking up some investigation and inquiry against such official, then this would lead to negligence in performance of duties by the director concerned. In such a cases, he can be held liable for his negligence and he can face civil liability in this case. However, if the official is not honest, then if the director has taken some action against him, then he is not responsible for his negligence, because the company has not suffered any loss and the official or the executive is properly dealt with, that he has been removed from the office or any other decision has been taken by the director or the board of directors in the interest of the company. Therefore, the negligence of a director which is willful, or the negligence of the director which is done on his own, will bring him liable, will made him liable, will be making him liable for civil liability. And the negligence on part of the officials on whom the work is assigned by the company may not bring liability to the director. Then one more ground on which the director may face a civil liability is misfeasance. So misfeasance can be understood as breach of duty in the conduct of the company management. So which may cause some loss to the company. So this is possible because when there is a breach of duty, or when there is a breach of duty in the conduct of some company management, then it may lead to some loss to the company, and this may be treated as something more than negligence. So any fraud or any underhand dealing by the director will render him liable to the company for any type of loss that the company has suffered due to that. So due to misfeasance, if the company has suffered a loss, then the director is personally responsible for that and he will face liability on that ground. So in such a situation, in order to say that the director can be booked for civil liability on the grounds of misfeasance, there must be some minimum conditions which are to be satisfied to say that the director is is committing the breach of duty that is put on him. There must be an act of misconduct or negligence on part of the director. That is, the director should be negligent, or he should be a person who is working with misfeasance or misconduct, and such activity or such decision should be willful. So it should not be a decision which is of which the director is ignorant. So the director being willful misfeasance or misconduct, in this case, then he shall be booked for civil liability for misfeasance. So misfeasance proceedings can be taken up against a director in a company by the court if it is proved that the misconduct or negligence is on the part of the director, and such act is a willful act which resulted in some loss to the company. So normally, in case of the course of winding up the company, such misfeasance acts are booked, and the court may direct the liquidator or the any other officer appointed to take up the necessary proceedings, and the directors who are guilty of misfeasance are supposed to make good the loss to the company that has occurred due to the misfeasance or negligence that they have shown while taking the decisions in the company. Therefore, the civil liability may be made in case of misfeasance of directors in performing their duties. Then one more type of ground is breach of trust. So the directors are supposed to keep the trust that has been put on them by the company, and the directors are further liable for breach of trust in the company. It can be understood as misapplication of funds of the company. Sometimes it may happen. So a director may commit misapplication of funds, or as a directors are supposed to perform the duty of trustees of the company, they must exercise their powers bona fide and in the interest of the company, which will benefit the company. Therefore, they are responsible for any breach of trust. So if they commit any breach of trust, then they are responsible, and cases like paying dividend out of the capital or using the funds of the company for the purposes which are not required, or for the purposes which are ultra wise, that is beyond their powers, will uh, go to breach of trust and the directors are held responsible in such a case, because paying dividend out of capital is not permitted. The dividend shall be paid only out of the profits that have been earned by the company. So if the directors resolve to pay the dividend out of the capital, which is not correct, then the directors are responsible for the breach of trust. And secondly, if the directors use the funds of the company for ultra wise purpose, so beyond their powers, what they are not empowered to do so, then in such a case, there is a breach of trust and the directors are held responsible for this breach of trust. Therefore, in order to avoid all these things, the directors are supposed to perform the duties of trustees of the company and safeguard the amount, and have to exercise some prudence in taking the decisions of the company. Then one more ground on which the civil liability may arise on directors is Ultra Vires Act. So where director takes up any decision in excess of their powers, or which are ultra vires and the company suffers a loss because of this, then the director shall be held personally responsible. So what a director is supposed to perform, he has to take such decisions only. When a director is not supposed to take any decision, he shall not take any decision in that matter. And if a director involves or takes up such decisions leading to some loss to the company, then the director shall be held personally responsible, where he is liable to make good the loss that has been suffered by the company. So, in such cases, it is not always necessary to prove such fraud. In all cases, if he has gone beyond his powers, or if the decision is ultra wise, or if the act is an ultra wise act, then it is enough to say that the director has gone beyond the powers that are given to him. Then, in such a case, if some loss is suffered by the company, he may be asked to make good the loss. Thus, where director pays dividend out of the capital, as discussed earlier, then the director would be compelled to pay back the amount to the company, because paying dividend out of the capital is not permitted on any grounds. Therefore, if such dividend is paid out of the capital, the directors are required, forced, or compelled to repay the amount to the company. Similarly, when the directors have used their powers with money of the company for such purposes which are not permitted, then the directors are held personally responsible, and the directors are supposed to repay the amount because the spending was not permitted by the company. Therefore, the civil liability of a director arise on grounds of negligence, on grounds of misfeasance, or on breach of trust, or on some ultra vires act which is beyond their powers that are given in the company. So now let us see the liability of directors to third parties. So normally directors being agents of the company are not liable to third parties on contracts which have been made on behalf of the company. They will be liable only when ordinary agents will be liable under those circumstances. But however, when an agent is liable, those directors would also be liable. For example, in a ultra-vires transaction amounting to breach of duty or breach of trust, will be held liable, and the director may be liable for the damages that occur on such grounds. Therefore, the directors are liable to third parties also on some grounds. There may be some situations wherein the directors contract in their own names. So, in such a case, without disclosing that they are acting for the company, if they contract with the third parties, then they are personally liable on that contract and the company is not responsible. And in some cases, due to frauds and torts, when a director is a party to a fraud or to the commission of any other tort, then he is held personally responsible for that. And under the provisions of the Companies Act, if he gives some misstatement in the prospectus, then he is also held personally liable. Then let us see about the criminal liability of the director of a company. So the Companies Act 2013 imposes certain duties on directors and they may be liable to penalties by way of fine or imprisonment if they fail to perform them. If they fail to perform them, these penal provisions would be imposed on the directors. So, under the Companies Act, criminal proceedings against such directors may be instituted in the sections which may result in imposing some fine or some giving a punishment like imprisonment also. For example, filing a prospectus containing untrue statements may attract a criminal liability and the director may be held personally responsible as per the Companies Act 2013. Therefore, we have seen how the directors are supposed to perform their duties and liable for the decisions like civil liabilities and criminal liabilities for the decisions that they take in the company management. Thank you.